Welcome back to my series, Worth Watching, where I test the watch the first 3 episodes rule to see if I'd be willing to keep watching a show or drop it after the first impression I get. Today, it's a big one, Precure. Big thing to say right from the get-go, we're going to be stuck in PowerPoint mode for this one. Toei is really strict about using footage from their shows. My magical Do-Re-Mi ranking video got taken down a while back. You can still watch it on Patreon though, for free, you don't even need to be a member, but I would prefer it if this vid got to stay up. So we'll be dealing with still images today. I talk about magical girls a lot, but one I've never really mentioned before is Precure. I get tons of comments asking about it, but I never know what to really say because I've actually never seen anything from the show. Usually I start these vids with a rundown of what I know about the topic I'm diving into, and here I have literally nothing. Like, actually nothing. I'm certain I might have seen some Precure girls randomly in the wild somewhere. Whenever I see magical girl transformation videos, I tend to just stop and watch them, even if it's a franchise I'm unfamiliar with. But I don't know what these characters look like, I don't know the plot, the premise, or anything. I'm basically diving in blind. There's also a ton of different Precure options to watch, so I let my patrons vote on which one I should tackle today, and they landed on the vanilla-flavored original Precure. So let's not waste any more time, let's dive in. We get introduced to 2 girls, a sporty one named Nagisa and a sciencey one named Hanuka. Man, this dynamic has just too many memes to choose from. I'll start with this. The opening has them sliding trading cards, like the Q Reader, or like Digimon, the 3rd season, the really good one. I bet this was a very smart marketing decision. Every time we beat evil, we get stronger and closer and closer. Oh, this is gonna be some OG Yuri, isn't it? Man, it's a shame I'm stuck on PowerPoint mode for this video. The animation is really delightful during these action shots. Nagisa gets a bunch of love letters, but they're all from girls. Oh yeah, this is definitely peak OG Yuri, huh? Does she have posters of real people in her room? I know I haven't talked about Hanuka at all, despite the fact she's been very present in the show. It's mostly just because I have nothing to say. All she's done is prove she's smart in a couple of different ways. By the 3rd time, I was like, okay, come on, give me something else to work with. Ooh, shooting stars! Quick, spam A as fast as you can! I'm gonna get all those Zodiac furniture items. Actually, the shooting stars seem to be cell phones? Like old school flip phones, I think? This show is adorably 90s. Nagisa's fell from the sky, but Hanuka's was in a little box in her garage. Strange. What's with that? What's going on? Aw, sweet, they come with trading cards too! She gets this little talking dude who I'm guessing is her transformation mascot. He ends every sentence with the word Meppo. I will admit, it got annoying very quickly. A villain appears. Dude, this guy's design is bonkers. Why is he so creepy looking? He looks like he should be in a different show, right? Like he looks like Jareth, the Goblin King from Labyrinth, right?
You remind me of the babe. Babe with the power.
Hanuka is here now suddenly, with her own cell phone mascot. And finally, it's transformation time, which looks a lot more chrome than I expected. Okay, real talk, the design's very cute, super stylish, sleek, cute pops of color. I like how they both have very distinct styles to match the girls' personalities. Hanuka's hair is adorable. The actual transformations though? Boring as sin. This is one of the worst transformation sequences I've ever seen. It's painfully slow, with little to no movement from the characters. It's taking a really long time too. Like it's literally over 3 minutes long with not a ton of visual excitement on display. What a bummer. So like, they don't have weapons? They're just like bodying him. You don't have a magical blast or a weapon or anything?
You don't have like a magical starbeam or energy blast or something?
Jareth over here possesses a roller coaster and it turns into a dragon-like monster. Turns out they do have a magical blast, but it only works if they hold hands. This is so friggin' cute. The day is saved, and we get to see our mascots' full forms, Mepple and Mipple. Yes, that's their actual names. I do like that they each have their own little mascot. I think that's fun. So, thoughts on episode 1? On one hand, it's what I'd expect from the first episode of any magical girl anime. It's a bit slow at first. We set up our status quo, get powers, be confused, beat a low-level bad guy. I think Precure's most standout feature is the fact we got 2 new magical girls simultaneously. Usually there's only one character getting the powers, like with Sailor Moon, or there's a team of older magical girls to show the newbie the ropes, like with Madoka Magica. I'm very intrigued by the other cards they have. I wonder if they get different abilities, or maybe even different outfits depending on what card they use. The biggest downside so far? I'm not in love with any of these characters' personalities. Nagisa is fun, but Hanuka is very one-note, and I unfortunately find Mepple and Mipple teetering on the annoying side. But that was just episode 1. Now that our girls are magical, let's see what they have in store for episode 2. Oh yeah, Jareth over here reminded me, there was a bunch of shooting stars. I wonder if we'll be getting more girls to add to the team. Mepple explains that the cards are used to take care of him, like he's a little Tamagotchi, basically. Swipe the chef one and that feeds him and whatnot. On one hand, I bet this toy sold like crazy. A Tamagotchi that you also get to pretend makes you a magical girl? Amazing idea. Literally, magical girl mascot caretaker is a genius concept for a game. Like Monster Rancher, but magical girls. On the other hand though, I am hyper disappointed the cards don't give the magical girls new powers. I could be wrong though, there are a ton of cards here, but from what it looks like, it seems like this is their main feature. A rogue soccer ball crashes through their window, Nagisa runs out to give the boys a piece of her mind, but uh-oh, it's a boy she thinks is cute. No, girl, no, he kicked a soccer ball through a window. You can definitely do better than that. I'm gonna be honest, I hate Mepple. I much prefer Mipple, she is way cuter and her voice doesn't annoy me as much. This time we're fighting a vacuum monster. Neat. One excruciatingly long transformation sequence later, and it's fight time. I'll be honest, the show really picks up once the fighting starts. The combat is fun, really nicely animated too. There's a good back and forth with the villains, so the stakes are exciting. Also, the way they solve their problems is insane. Like, they stop a falling elevator with their bodies? Like, using their own strength to reduce the speed of the whole entire elevator? Crazy. And then they just parkour back up the elevator to return to the fight. So much fun. So creative and cool. End of episode 2, and I admit I'm conflicted. The action scenes are very fun. I've made that clear. But it feels like the episode leading up to that point is just desperately grasping at straws to fill runtime. We aren't getting much characterization for our girls. Hanuka is still just smart. Nagisa is energetic and has a crush on that one boy, and that's kind of it. They don't talk to each other much, and worst of all, a lot of screen time is just Mepple whining nonstop, and I really don't like him. We have 1 episode left to check out, so let's do it. I can't believe Nagisa actually has a crush on this kid. I swear to God, this is the most boring looking boy I've ever seen in the history of anime. Harem protagonists have more pizzazz than this nerd. I'm mostly salty because I ship the girls together. Our girls are put in charge of being representative guides for an upcoming field trip. Look at all these background characters, breathing a sigh of relief that they're not designed interestingly enough to be tasked with extra work. Anyways, it's a great excuse for the girls to just get to hang out for a bit, which is a much needed change of pace, I'd say. Although it is a shame a big chunk of the middle of them hanging out is just Mipple and Mepple re-explaining things we already know from the last episode, literally repeating the same exact animation and everything. Wow, much to my surprise, Jareth puts 2 and 2 together and realizes he could find the girls based on their school uniforms. I honestly expected them to just quietly ignore this detail. He disguises himself as a student teacher and everyone's like, OMG, he's super hot. And I'm like, well, to each their own, I guess. Here we go, transform, dark magic, bam, let's do this.
Boy, was I a fool in school for cutting gym.
While we're busy fighting basketballs, does Nagisa and Hanuka remind anyone else of Troy and Gabriella from High School Musical?
Die, blanket of death!
One more big magical blast and the day is saved again, wrapping up the first 3 episodes of Precure. Now then, would I want to keep watching it? Yes, but I am a bit conflicted. Like I was saying before, the action sequences are amazing. They're really creative, and clearly most of the production budget and effort goes into making the climax of each episode exciting. The animation during these fights is really nice, and I like their designs a lot. I also like how they don't have any weapons or attacks or anything, needing to use their physical skills to fight the baddies and solve their problems until they can stand side by side long enough to hold hands so they can do their big finisher. And the big finisher looks really cool and impressive. There's a lot of interesting backstory and secrets surrounding Hanukkah that I am very intrigued by. Why did she have the cell phone in a box already? Who was that man in the framed photograph Nagisa saw? However, I find the overall pacing of each episode rather drab. The two girls haven't really gotten to flesh themselves out very much, especially not with each other, seemingly insistent on acting like they're just acquaintances while at school for some reason. The majority of the episode's runtime feels a bit like a drag. The girls aren't very proactive feeling either, mostly just hanging around until suddenly the villain is in front of them. It also doesn't help that 2 of these episodes were bogged down with the backstory for the Field of Light. On a related note, I can't stand Mepple and Mipple. I unfortunately find their antics annoying rather than funny, which I think is what they were aiming for, but every time they open their mouths, I just can't stand it. Watching the end credits, which is very cute, by the way, we can see there's more villains than just Jareth. I am intrigued by this. I want to see what other threats the girls would face. Also, there's still a lot of cards in their decks that we haven't seen, so maybe there's more fun powers and abilities they could utilize to keep things fresh and interesting. So I am interested in seeing more. We haven't really gotten to see these prism stones they're talking about after all, but there are some problems that make me uncertain how long I'd be willing to sit through it all. Maybe it's a side effect of the age of the anime. This came out in 2004, 2005-ish. Maybe one of the newer seasons would remedy my issues with the pacing. Like I said, there's a ton of Precure seasons out there. If you are a Precure fan, let me know what season is your favorite, and let me know if you want me to check out one of the other ones next time.
Okay, what's going on here? Why is everything chrome?
Shout out to my $10 patrons, you're all amazing. Andrew, Valhalla Knight, Chamomile, Classy Critic, Genital War Thunder, Jake, Amber, Hype Man, Isaiah, Scaring Crows, Not All That Evil, Holly, Messiah, Jacob, Ben's Sketchbook, Rain, Trash, Wild Pilot, Josh, Twisty, Juan, Bunkin Duncan, Hoodie Angel, Ranger, Hutmut Butt, Sean, Primaroon, Steve, Overhypen, Plague, Unspoken, Tyrene, Thanos, Pandemonium, Peter, Agiri, Shahid, Eden, The Eliza, Minnie, Liv Lobotomy Sane, Doki Pokey, Fanboy, myself, and Moon of Blues. So yeah, what do you think? I do recommend at least watching the opening, if you can find that somewhere, because it's really, really nice animation, and I like their designs. Shout out to that one person who, for like 200 days, has been asking me to talk about Precure designs. I might do that. What do you think of Precure? Which one's your favorite season? There's a ton. I didn't realize there was that many. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.